So, what if your biggest strength, your intelligence, is secretly the very thing that's holding you back? I know, it sounds totally backward, right? But it's a super frustrating trap that so many smart people fall into, and they never even see it coming.
You know this feeling, don't you? You've got the great ideas, you can see all the angles, you get all the complexity, and yet you're not actually moving forward. And all the while, you're looking around and you see other people, maybe with half the insight, just doing things. They're making progress while you're still stuck on the starting blocks. It's an incredibly frustrating place to be, for sure.
Well, there's actually a name for this whole situation. It's called the intelligence paradox. Basically, it's when your own brain's horsepower starts creating these new, more sophisticated problems that just lead to total inaction. So let's dive in and break down the 3 biggest traps of this paradox, and, more importantly, figure out how to escape them.
Okay, first up is a trap that feels fantastic in the moment, but it gets you absolutely nowhere. It's called the illusion of productivity. This is where we so brilliantly trick ourselves into thinking that just being busy is the same thing as making real progress.
And here's the really sneaky part about this. This isn't about being lazy, not at all. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It's the activity of endless learning, endless planning. It feels like work, it definitely looks like work, but it doesn't actually produce a single result.
Come on, does this look a little familiar? This is the classic symptom right here. You're deep diving into research for a project, a new business idea, whatever it is. You feel incredibly informed, like you've gathered a mountain of data, but that blank page is just sitting there staring right back at you. Yep, that's the illusion in action.
And this is exactly how that cycle spins up. It starts with a brilliant idea. Then you tell yourself, okay, I'll just do some quick research. But because you're smart, you uncover more nuances, you find more interesting data, and before you know it, you're tumbling down an endless information spiral. You're on a research hamster wheel, running faster and faster and getting absolutely nowhere.
Now let's move on to the second trap, which honestly builds right on top of the first one. This is the paralysis of choice. And it's this really cruel, ironic twist where your amazing ability to see all the possibilities, all the different pathways, makes it pretty much impossible to actually pick one.
And this is a real thing, a genuine cognitive overload. Your brain, which is so good at analyzing, 10 different strategies, just short circuits. So instead of all those options empowering you, they just freeze you. The sheer number of choices becomes the barrier itself.
Just look at the difference in these 2 mindsets. The action taker, they aren't necessarily any less intelligent. They just commit to a good enough path so they can get moving. But the overthinker, they're on an epic quest for the one, single, flawless, perfect path, which, let's be honest, almost never exists. And that search, it's a recipe for staying exactly where you are.
Just think about what's actually happening in your brain. As all the options you can think of go up, your clarity on what to do just plummets. And you know what fills that empty space? Anxiety. You become way more worried about making the wrong choice than you are excited about making any choice at all. And that anxiety, it leads us straight into our third and final trap, the prison of perfectionism. And pay close attention to that subtitle, hiding behind high standards. This is a huge reframe. It suggests perfectionism isn't some noble pursuit of excellence. It's a really sophisticated defense mechanism.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? We think our impossibly high standards are protecting us from criticism, from failure, from looking dumb. But that shield is so heavy, it's so clunky, that we can never actually get off the ground. We can't take flight because we're being weighed down by our own defense.
So let's be really clear about this. This isn't an attack on having high standards or wanting to do quality work. That's a great thing. The toxic kind of perfectionism we're talking about, it isn't really about the work itself. It's about a deep, paralyzing fear of failure, a fear of being judged, of not living up to that smart person label. And that fear is sneaky. It shows up in so many ways. It's that little voice in your head going, but what if they don't think this is brilliant? It's setting the bar for a first draft so impossibly high that you can't even type the first word. It's that gut-wrenching feeling that one tiny mistake will ruin everything. And of course, it's the classic, constantly waiting for the perfect moment, which, spoiler alert, never actually arrives.
Okay, so we've identified the traps. That could feel a little heavy, I know, but that's honestly the hardest part. Now, the big question, how do we get out? Well, the path forward isn't about fighting your intelligence. It's about outsmarting its worst habits. And it all begins with awareness.
Seriously, if you take away only one thing from this whole explainer, please make it this. The solution is not to be less intelligent. The The goal is to use that incredible intelligence to become more aware, to be able to catch yourself in the act when you're slipping into one of these traps. That awareness is the first and most powerful step to breaking free.
So what's in your awareness toolkit? Well, think of it as 3 simple questions. When you feel stuck, just ask yourself, okay, right now, am I researching or am I avoiding doing? That's the illusion of productivity. Or, am I searching for the perfect plan instead of just making good progress? That's paralysis of choice. And the big one, are my standards actually helping me or am I just hiding behind them? That's the prison of perfectionism.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to really chew on. Right now, in your life, what is the perfect plan or the perfect strategy or the perfect time that you're waiting for? And what do you think would happen if you just let it go, just for today? And instead, you took one small, imperfect step forward. What kind of good progress could you make right now?